Hi guys. It's been a couple of days since I've uploaded anything. It's been pretty hectic. I've completed my first week of treatment and it kind of turned into a blur after the first couple of days. Um, we did lots of really cool things that they took us down for recreational therapy. We went to like a rehab pool thing that they had and got to relax in the water, and that was really nice because it was like really warm water. So it was cool. Took a big walk around the campus and made a breakfast together as a group and a lunch as a group, and um, just lots of different talks and things like that. Uh, one of the girls found out that her insurance stopped paying for her to be in the treatment program 2 days previous to when she found out. Um, so it sounds like some shenanigans there. So she was pretty upset on Friday because she just found out, that day that was going to be her last day, and she wasn't ready for it. So that was pretty hard to watch people get kicked out of the program just because their insurance wasn't going to pay for it anymore. Um, she clearly has a lot of other things that she needs to work through, and she just doesn't seem to have the time, so that was sad. But other than that, it's gone pretty well. I only messed up on Tuesday when I ate, 2 suppers basically and then threw them up. After that, behaved myself pretty well. Had a little bit of fun at night, went out in the natures and enjoyed the area that I'm in, and had a great time. So it was nice to do that as well. I was pretty anxious about the weekend because it was going to include me needing to grocery shop because I knew my fridge was full of rotten food that I've bought and just have not gotten around to eating. So I knew I was going to have to do that. The shopping went okay. I planned some meals for myself and what I wanted to eat. I fell into the pattern I have though on the weekends, which is where I don't eat. I stuff myself silly during the week and then eat nothing during the weekend to balance it out somehow. I slept in and missed breakfast on Saturday, and then went with my parents for lunch and had a reasonable lunch. We went to a Mexican restaurant, and for supper I had like a salad thing. So aside from missing breakfast, Saturday was pretty decent. Today I didn't feel great. I didn't feel like I had an emotional connection with my partner that morning, and like it didn't matter that I was home. So I did have like 2.5 servings of cereal and equivalency of milk. It was not as bad as going to the gas station, which I'm glad I didn't do, but it was more cereal than I should have probably had. I haven't had lunch. It's 6:15 and I haven't had lunch. I stopped by my mom's house to get the leftover Mexican food for supper tonight, and like she does, she sent me with a whole bunch of food. It's hard to tell your mom no. She gave me 3 pieces of garlic bread and a big Tupperware container of spaghetti and meatballs. I don't like spaghetti. I probably won't eat it. I'll probably end up throwing that away. But I did eat all 3 French bread pieces on the way to my hotel. So even my dad joked when we were at dinner. He didn't ask me, how treatment was going or why I was doing treatment, but he did say that he remembered me as a kid, at restaurants and things. They'd need to take the bread products away. Like I could sit and eat 4 or 5 biscuits or rolls or all the chips, and not even realize I was doing it. So it was interesting to hear, his perspective on that. So yeah, I ate all 3 pieces of that bread. I just wasn't happy today with the way my marriage looks. It just, I just didn't, it wasn't, we're not in sync. And when we try and talk about it, it ends up devolving into something that is not productive. I'm supposed to try and meet with one of the social workers on Monday to think of things I'd want to talk about if I could get my husband to come and talk. Um, I spent the weekend thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I shouldn't push the issue because, things are good enough. We're not breaking up. We're not screaming at each other. We're not abusing each other. It's just, there's no joy. And there hasn't been for a long time. But then after the way the weekend went, I feel like there are things that need to be talked about. I just don't know how to start that dialogue. And I'm fairly certain that if he came and we talked about stuff, it wouldn't end well. I kind of just finished out the weekend thinking that relationships just aren't for me. I'm tired of the up and down. I'm tired of feeling loved one minute and not loved the next. And it's just me reading too much into my relationship, I'm sure. But I just feel like I keep looking for the support I need in other people, and it's never there. It's never there to the degree that I feel like I need. And I feel like I should be the one providing that support to myself. I shouldn't be relying on other people because ultimately they let me down. So, yeah, it was kind of a downer to go home this weekend. I was actually glad to come back to the hotel. I've got a better room this time. I made my appointment last week, so I'm not in the tiny little studio. I've got this big room, TV, my fridge and my microwave, giant king-size bed. The bathroom's a little bit smaller than it has been before, but that's all right. I don't spend a ton of time in there. I'm not a Kardashian, as you can see. But yeah, so I'm excited about the second week to see what things hold for me. Oh, I need to make a group apology tomorrow when I go in. I'll kind of sit and figure out what's going on. At the first group, I'll probably mention it. We were sitting in a group joking about some of the uncomfortable things that they ask you about in the group, and they were making references to a certain bathroom protocol that they have, and they get, I guess, asked, do you use the restroom with any frequency, and they have to tell, whether they do or don't, because we're not, like, watched. They don't lock the bathrooms here or ask you, did you purge when you went in there, but they were joking about that, and I chimed in and was laughing and said, yeah, they asked me that too, but I said, hey, I'm the fattest girl here, so of course I use the bathroom a lot. I eat everything in sight. But before I could even finish that sentence, when I said I'm the fattest girl here, which I am, all the other girls have a binge purge problem or an NA problem or an AA problem in conjunction with their eating disorder. And I am the biggest one. I'm the only one that's the emotional eater that holds on to it enough to where they've gotten fat. But as soon as I said I'm the fattest girl here, the girl next to me started making like, oh no sounds, and one of the girls in the other room kind of made this weird sound, and then the person who was leading the group immediately, I felt like, attacked me with that's negative language and you don't get to use that, and you're not, I can't even remember exactly what she said, because I remember I just kind of focused in on her and got like this, I felt put on the spot. I felt attacked and put on the spot, and when that happens, I kind of like get tunnel vision on that person, and it's like I stop hearing their words, but I can see their mouth moving, and I'm just like staring at them like, let's get this over with. This is so extremely embarrassing. I can't even believe it's happening, so I'm just going to go somewhere else while this is happening. And I got through it, but then I stopped sharing with the group because I was done. I had emotionally checked out. I was so angry. I just journaled. I journaled about it. I sat the rest of the group and just wrote in my journal. At the end, the girl that found out that she's not going to get to stay, she's really negative, and I hadn't said anything the whole week because I figured someone else has probably talked to her about it or called her out on it, but every single thing is a complaint. It's just, she's like constantly looking for the negative, and it was starting to wear on me because it's a lot of the characteristics I see in my relationships with my family. And as I'm sitting there just ruminating on this embarrassment in front of the group, and the fact that it's like, as a newbie, I feel like someone should have taken me aside afterwards and said, hey, this thing you said, not cool. We need to learn how to rephrase stuff like that. But they were all getting snacks, and, I'm the fat one, so I don't get snacks. And I'm sitting there journaling, and she gets her ice cream, and she just launches into, oh, I hate this ice cream. It's always soggy, and it's so mushy, and I hate this ice cream. And the first thought in my head was, then put it in the freezer. why are you just complaining about it out loud? Nobody else in the room cares, and my ice cream at lunch was soggy, but I ate it because it was ice cream and I was glad to have it. Um, and she just kept on about it. And finally I just looked up and I was like, do you have any understanding how negative you are? Do you even hear the things that you say? And the whole group went dead silent. And I regretted saying it immediately because on face, it would look like I was simply lashing out because I was embarrassed and hurt. Really, it was part of that, but it was also that I'd listened to that negativity for so long, and that bothers the crap out of me. And she looked shocked, and she said, well, thanks for that, and just kind of laughed it off, like hoping, I didn't want to wound her. I didn't. It was not kind language. It was not a kind way to say, hey, your negativity really bugs me. It's just how it came out. And I went and talked to the social worker afterwards and told him what happened and said I felt bad about it, and I felt attacked by the leader of the group. And he didn't judge me for it. He didn't, ask me to apologize to anyone. He didn't ask me to, rephrase that thinking. But he did say I should probably talk to that group leader and just say, this is the way I felt, and this is why I reacted the way I did, and try and figure out a way to get around it. But ultimately, he really just talked about the thought process of when something happens, what is your feeling, what is your thought, and what is your action? And my feeling was embarrassment, and my thought was anger, and my action was to lash out. And it wasn't healthy for anybody in the room. So I'm going to start tomorrow with an apology to the group because I feel like I made things very awkward there at the end of the day. And that wasn't a fantastic thing to do. So, yeah. So I'm going to eat a little crow pie tomorrow. But other than that, yeah, I feel like things are going pretty well. Hope your guys' weekend was pretty good too. And I'll check in again tomorrow. Bye.